So your first college season is just around the corner, and I know that right now can be a bit of a stressful, anxious time, just kind of anticipating what things are going to be like when you get to school and how the season is all going to play out. So I wanted to give you all the advice and all the things that I wish I knew going into my first college season. So you might know my story, but I'll tell it anyway. So I played 4 years at Wake Forest University. I played one game my freshman year. I played no games my sophomore year. I had a very good breakout junior year where I played almost every single game except for one, and we ended up going to the Final Four. And my senior year was COVID, so we had a bit of a modified season and pretty good season, to be fair. And that was it for me. So but I got drafted to Orlando City in that 2021 draft. So 4 years of college experience, and there's a lot of lessons there and a lot of experiences that I learned from. So I want to pass this on to you. So I'm going to give you just some of the biggest pieces of advice that I wish I knew going into my first college season. So the very first thing is don't get too frustrated if you're not starting right away, and don't get too high if you are starting right away when you get there, first game of the season. So when I initially got to Wake, I graduated early from high school. And so I was there the spring before my freshman fall. And I had kind of set something in my head of I have to start as a freshman or else I'm just going to be incredibly unhappy and I'm just going to be miserable. So I worked that entire spring. I put in a lot of work and a lot of focus, which was a good thing because I got a lot better, and I think it prepared me in some ways for the fall. But I also just completely isolated myself just from the team, and that's a whole nother point. But when the fall season came around and that very first game of the season, I wasn't starting, I was crushed because that had been a goal I was working towards all spring and all summer long, and it just felt like that was all for nothing. And so my point here is take things day by day. Understand that it's a long season. You got a lot of games in front of you, and I want you to set the intention to say, yes, I want to be the starter this fall, right when I get there. But understand that there might be a guy who has been there before, who the coaches trust, and he's played games before. And even if you go in and absolutely crush it in preseason, there's still a chance that they might not play you that first game of the season. So understand this and realize that things change very quickly. There are injuries, there are poor performances, and your ability to stay ready, which we've talked about before, is going to be the reason that you do step in when your opportunity does come, and vice versa. If you aren't starting you are starting the very first game of the season, then don't get too high. You can also, this could be just as bad if you do crush it in preseason and you get the nod right away, then you think that, I'm the starter now, this is how it's going to be the rest of the year. No, you need to stay grounded and make sure that you know that it's a daily thing. Even if you do start that first game, you still got to show up every single game. You still got to show up every day to training. So really take it day by day. Make sure you're making the most of every single day and every single session, and let those things take care of themselves. You will do well and you will get opportunities and you will start games and you will win games if you can just be centered and make the most of every single day. So the main point there is just don't get too high and don't get too low. Set that target of being the starter when you initially get there, but again, don't be too frustrated like I was and let that completely affect you for the following games because you didn't start that very first game. So number 2, stay on top of school. Now, I didn't say you have to be a valedictorian. I didn't say you have to get a 4.0 GPA. I just need you to understand that one of my favorite quotes of all time is, how you do anything is how you do everything. So the times that I was doing the best in school were the times that I was doing the best in soccer. I had the most success on the field. Now, I believe that, like I said, how you do one thing is how you'll do everything else in your life. You can't be slacking in one area of your life and be really low and absolutely killing it on other areas. This low point and not doing well and not putting in the effort here is going to affect you here. So my point is not that you need to do really well in school. You need to absolutely crush it. I'm just saying that you need to be on top of it. You need to be organized, because if you don't know when things are due and you're doing things at the last minute and you're losing sleep because you have a late project that you have to get done, and now you're sleep deprived going into a practice, going into a midweek game, that is not something you want to do. So stay on top of school. When I was a junior, we made it to the Final Four. It was the only year we made it to the Final Four when I was at Wake. And it just so happened that our finals week was the week before that Final Four game. So the game was on Friday, Saturday, and that week leading up was our finals. So we were training, but we also were taking tests, doing presentations. I had to write a 22-page paper, and this all came right before our biggest, my biggest, most important game of my college career. And so we're training, I'm running around wearing a button-up shirt to go do a presentation, back to my room to write my 22-page paper, and then training again the next day. And now I got to go take a final, which is 40% of my grade for a class. So I say this all to say, stay on top of school, to where if I would have anticipated this, maybe I would have wrote part of that paper earlier and been ahead of things, to where now going into that Final Four game, there was a little bit less stress and anxiety because I had already thought about and handled the school piece. So again, you don't have to be a 4.0 student. You don't have to be a valedictorian, whatever it is. Just stay on top of things, be organized, and know that it's all about effort, at least. So the effort that you put into school will be the same effort that you put into soccer. It's all about your intent and how you choose to do anything. Because again, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're slacking, if you're not even trying in one area, it's gonna completely affect you in the other. So the third thing, be a leader the minute you step onto campus. One of my very few regrets that I have from college is that I waited until someone told me that I was going to be the captain my senior year to be really and to embrace that leader captain type role. I think that I worked hard and I did things well and I held myself to high standards, but I wish that I would have saw myself as a captain just the first day I stepped onto campus, because how you think about yourself, how you see yourself is how you're going to carry yourself. And I want you to be able to be that person when you step onto campus, right? So what does that look like? Be the leader of your freshman class, right? So if you're going to be a freshman, be the leader of them. Help all them out. Everyone is new, so be the leader of them. And then that in turn is going to lead you to, lead in other areas and to take care of those areas. So I say this all because, again, too many people wait to get a captain's armband before they start acting like a captain, before they start acting like a leader. And to be quite frank, it doesn't matter if you have that armband. There could be people who are better leaders on the team who don't officially wear the armband and who actually are the heart and soul of the team. But again, they aren't the official, they aren't the one that people see in the social media as the captain, but they are an incredibly important piece of the team. So I want you going in with the confidence that you're a leader just by how you carry yourself and the actions you take on a daily basis. Everyone is going to be watching you in everything that you do. And that's not something to be scared of, but that's just something to say, you need to lead the guys in your inner circle and then thus leading the team. So again, my only regret there is just that I didn't act like that. I waited until someone told me to be a captain, to be a leader, before I really took on that role. So I want you to step in right away. And that doesn't mean you need to boss people around. That just means you hold yourself to very high standards. You train very hard. You hit it hard in the gym. You treat people well. And I want you to do that, because if you can hold yourself to high standards, everyone else is going to hold themselves to high standards. At the end of the day, your team is going to have more success, which is ultimately what you want and really need. Number 4, be wary of distractions and make sure you create some kind of rules or guidelines for yourself. I don't need to tell you this. This is something that you already know, but college is a unique place with a lot of distractions. And I will preface this one by saying that the legal drinking age is 21, and I do not encourage any underage drinking. So there's that. But if you choose to drink alcohol, I promise you it will affect you in some way. Whether, you gain weight or you get a little more out of shape, or, you're spending time at places that you probably shouldn't be because you're partaking in that, it will affect you. So, like I said, I want you to create rules and I want you to create values for yourself to where you're not slipping into behaviors that you will regret. So what do I mean? I like to listen to Navy SEALs, and they talk about holding the line, where you might do one thing and that might lead you to do another thing and another, and suddenly you're 5 steps away from where you really wanted to be because you started with that 1, 2, 3, 4 actions. So I want you to create guidelines, rules for yourself. So are you going to drink? It's easy if you go to a party or a social event, and if someone offers you a drink or something and you say, I don't drink, pretty much that's the end of the discussion. But if you say, oh, hey, I'm not drinking tonight, everyone is going to get on you. Oh man, come on. And if you have 1 drink or, and that leads to 2 drinks, I'm just saying, if you have strict rules and strict guidelines for yourself, you won't slip. But if you, have very weak and very vague guidelines and ways that you do things, soon enough you're going to find yourself somewhere that you didn't want to be just because you didn't, like I said, hold that line. So when it does come to this, I will say some success and some things I found, especially my junior year where I had a lot of success, was don't isolate yourself from everyone. Like I said, college is a unique time. You're going to be around a lot of people your age, and it's a time to meet people and to be social. So I would say look to go to, they call them like pre-games. So go to the pre-games, where you're meeting other athletes, but I wouldn't go to the parties to where you're in a dark frat house and you can't see anyone and the music's really loud. Maybe go to those pre-games to where you can socialize, you can connect with other athletes, meet people. And the way that I would do it is I wouldn't drink, and I decided my junior year that I would just drive people places. So that was really easy for me to go to these events, drive my friends and go and talk to people. And then when it was time for people to go to the actual party, I would just take them there and I would go back to my place and I would just go to sleep and get after it the next morning while everyone else is out really late and sleep deprived and hungover the next day. And I'm fresh and ready to go. And I also got a taste of that, socialization too. Like I said, my freshman spring, when I had graduated early from college or from high school, I completely isolated myself. And again, while that was a good thing for me to progress as a player, I do regret not socializing and being a part of my team more and just meeting other athletes and getting outside of myself. So again, the social piece is important, but create guidelines for yourself so you don't slip. Number 5, work very hard in all aspects. No stone left unturned and have no regrets. So this one kind of ties in with the last one, but you're the kind of person that you're not going to regret the parties that you missed or the alcohol that you didn't drink. You're not going to regret any of that. All you're going to do post-college is look back and ask yourself, could you have worked harder? And I want you to make sure that when you are there, you have 4 years. And that might seem like a lot, but the time goes by very quickly. And I want you to make sure that you are getting the absolute most and you have no regrets. So it's quite obvious to say work really hard, but make sure that you are putting in an immense amount of work. Obviously, I want you to recover and I want you to be ready for games. But other than that, I want you doing extra work after practice. I want you becoming best friends with your strength coach and finding ways for you to get stronger quicker in the gym. All the extra work that you can do, watching film from your practices, watching film from your games, watching film of professionals. There's a whole list of things that we can talk about of working hard and doing extra and what that looks like. But I just want you to make sure that you decide, I'm going to work as hard as possible. And for you, that's going to be a consistent thing of finding that line and finding out how hard you can go. I think that when I was younger, sometimes, and this kind of goes back to the captain thing, that I would wait to see and wait for someone to tell me, hey, do this. I kind of I would do what I was told, but you need to find how far you can go and how much your body can take and how much work you can really put in. So I want you to work as hard as possible, right? On the field, off the field, with your mind, and make sure that when it comes game time, you've prepared in every single possible way. And when your 4 years is up, you have no regrets because you know that you put in as much work as humanly possible. Man, my last point, just enjoy it. I want you to savor every single moment, right? College soccer is a very unique thing, and it's going to be a very unique time of your life and a unique time in your career. Like you, I didn't play high school soccer. I played academy growing up, and that made it hard for me because obviously it's nice to play for your school. It's nice to be a part of something to where there's a community involved and people know who you are. So when I was in academy, I would have a great game on the weekend, and then I would go to high school the next day and no one would know anything about it. But it was really cool for me in college to have an amazing game and some students coming up to me in class the next day, or even professors or teachers who were there tell me great game, and to feel like I was fighting for something a lot bigger than just myself. So it's really special to play for your school and to have that sense of a bigger thing. Man, the difference between a pro locker room and a college locker room are very, very different. You're around guys who are just your age, and when you turn into a pro, it becomes a lot more of a business. And that's not to say that one is better than the other, but I just want you to enjoy, again, you have 4 years, 4 very unique years of your life and of your soccer career. And I just want you to make sure you enjoy every second. You enjoy the guys around you. You create friendships and memories that will last a long time. There are guys that I played with at Wake and I keep in constant contact with. And I know that these will be friends of mine for life. And it's just it's a very special time. So I want you to just savor every single moment. I want you to have fun. Maybe not fun in the sense that most college students would look at fun, but I want you just to enjoy the people around you and, have some banter, with the guys in the locker room. And every single year and every single team will be different as new guys come in and new guys come out. So really embrace just where you are right now. Embrace this coming fall and the guys who are going to be on your team, because I think it's really easy for you to think that, maybe my junior year, that's when I'll really step up, or that's when. I want you, no matter what is going on around you, just to enjoy where you are right now. Because again, guys will come and go, teams will be different, there'll be different feels and different personalities to the team. So again, no matter what is going on around you, you're playing, you're not playing, you're injured, you're healthy, just enjoy every second, because again, this is just a very unique time in your life and you're never going to get to do it again. I can't play college soccer again. And again, that's not a bad thing, but that's just reality. And I have some amazing memories and friendships, like I said, that will last a lifetime. So those are the biggest pieces of advice and things that I wish I knew going into my very first year of college. I hope that some of this settles your nerves or your anxiety a little bit. I know that going into a completely new environment, there's always going to be those feelings. So I hope that this was just a help. I know it's not going to completely make those feelings go away or anything, but those feelings actually aren't even a bad thing too. You should be feeling a little bit anxious, a little bit excited, because really that's what's going to bring out your best self when you do step on the field for the first time and you meet all your new teammates and being ready to go from the minute you step on the field for the first day of preseason and when you step on that field for the first game. So if you have any questions or, I'm here. So continue to work and make the most of your opportunities when they come, and just be ready to savor and enjoy every moment. So I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next one.